Hi. This is my first video on the creation of a Google document. This is basically the equivalent of a Microsoft Word document on your Google Drive. So to create a Google document, just real quick, if you're in your Google Drive, you just simply click on this Create button and click Document, and it will create a new document for you. Up here in the top left corner, if you click it, that's the title of your document. I can change the title. I'm going to leave my title as Test 1. And in this video, we're going to be discussing the Quick Access Toolbar. That goes right here. Now, one of the downsides to the Quick Access Toolbar in Google Docs is that it cannot be customized to my knowledge. If I find out differently, or if that changes, I will update the video. Now, Microsoft Word 2010 basically utilizes only quick access toolbars, and everything is basically customizable with that. So that's one of the things that Word has above Google Docs. But the big draw to Google Docs is the convenience. One of the convenient things about Google Docs is, if you take a look right up here, it tells you all changes saved in Google Drive. Okay, it says every change you make is automatically saved in Google Drive. And it tells you how long ago the last edit was. If you watch this right here, I'm going to type a few words in. Every single time that I enter a letter, it saves it real time. So what that means is you can be working on something, and you will not lose any progress saved should your computer battery die, should you drop your computer, should the power go out. Okay, you're not going to lose anything that you do. So this video is going to be primarily about the Quick Access Toolbar. We will also have videos on the File tab, on the File menu, the Edit menu, the View menu, etc., etc. So first things first, this little printer, well, it means print. If you hit Command P or Apple P, this is on a Mac, that's the hotkey to print. So it means you can just push those two keys on your keyboard and the print option will come up. You don't actually have to hit the button. So the nice thing about these little descriptions is that not only does it tell you the name of the button, but in parentheses you can see the hotkeys for that button if that button has hotkeys. The next two buttons are undo and redo, two very important concepts to understand. So I just typed all of that. If I want to undo it, I click this button, or I can hold Command Z. I'm going to use the hotkey Command Z to undo. Okay, and I undid what I just did. If I want to redo it, I hit Command Y, or I can hit this button up here. And that redoes my last action. We're not really going to talk about the paint format button, as it doesn't really, that'll be a video of its own, as that button in general isn't used very much. So I don't feel like it's worth going into in this video. I want to talk about the really important things that people are going to use on a regular basis. The next one, styles. This is for headings primarily. Headings and style. Headings are great for creating table of contents and things like that. And we'll discuss those table of contents in one of our future videos on the Insert tab. The font, you can change the font of the word, something most people are familiar with. It just changes the appearance of the letters that you're writing. And any font you change to, if you take a look at this list, you know, it shows you what the font will look like. So impact is going to look exactly how it looks, how the word impact looks. Droid Sans is going to look exactly how Droid Sans looks, etc. Times New Roman will look like this. Okay. You can add fonts. We'll talk about that in a different video at some point. But basically, the most commonly used fonts are Times New Roman, Arial, and Comic Sans. Most people don't really need to use anything outside of those three, unless it's just for fun. Font size is the next little box that changes how big your font is. So you can highlight a piece of text and change the font size. Okay. The other thing you can do is if you don't want to affect the text here, but you want to affect everything that comes after it, I've just clicked my mouse and that little blinky line is currently where I am at. Okay, if I type the letter J, it will appear where that blinky line is. So I can now change the font size. So everything from this blinky line forward from now on is size 24. But the rest of the stuff behind it stays the same. And then let's say I want to change my font again. Okay, I'm going to click, I'll do font size 10. And everything is font size 10. Alright. The next three buttons are very commonly used. It's probably important that we memorize their hotkeys. They'll make life a lot easier if you use these buttons on a regular basis. They are bold, italic, and underline. It's pretty easy to see what bold does. It makes things bolder. Italicizing things. Okay, you just hold Command I and we'll italicize them. And to underline them, you hit Command U. And if you ever want to undo an underline or undo an italicize or bold, you just hit the hotkey again, or you hit the button again while it's highlighted. The other thing too is that the hotkeys are pretty intuitive for these three. Bold is Command B, italicize is Command I, and underline is Command U. Now if you are on a PC and not a Mac, the hotkey is going to be the Control button plus B, or Control I, or Control U instead of Command. On a Mac you hit the Command button. On a PC you will hold down the Control button. The next two buttons, if you click, we have text color. Literally changes the color of your text. If you open up the text color, you can actually make your own customized color or look for your own custom color in this little grid here. You can drag this around and get whatever shade you need. You can move this up and down and change the shade. And create your own color should you wish to do that. This one right here is the text background color, as it says, so I can create a background color for my text, such as that. Those two options typically aren't used very often unless you're making something like a flyer, or perhaps you are writing something that's going to be posted online on a website or something along those lines. But if you're just doing like an essay for a class, typically aren't going to use those two options. So I'm going to erase all of that. Next button is the link button. Okay. So with a link, I can highlight a piece of text that I want to create a link to, and I click the link button. Now I have three options. I can create a link to a web address. So I can create a link to a web page. So when people click on that word, it will take them to the web page that I want. So I could do google.com, and you can test the link to make sure it works. Okay, and it will pop up a new window and show you that yes, it did work. I went to google.com. Okay. I can have this word linked to an email address. So what it will do is if I'm logged into my Gmail account and I'm reading this document, then when I click on this word, it will open up my Gmail account and it will instantly start a compose message in my Gmail with the email address that has been linked here. So if I put bob@hotmail.com, okay, when you click on the word that is highlighted, you will start, it'll set up a compose message that will be emailing bob@hotmail.com. And finally, you can make bookmarks. Bookmarks are more for jumping to different places in your document. So, like, I can set up bookmarks all throughout my document so that I can jump from page 1 to page 3. Like, maybe if I'm doing an essay on gazelles and zebras, then I can, you know, I every time the word gazelle appears, I can have a bookmark that if you click on the word Gazelle, it will take you down to the chapter or the page that's on Gazelle, instead of having to sift through all the pages. Now bookmarks are typically useful if you're writing a really, really long, whether you're making like a textbook or you're writing a really long essay or something like that. But if you're just doing like a 2 or 3 page thing, bookmarks are typically not useful to you. But I'm going to use the web address. This is the most commonly used link nowadays. And so if you hit OK, the word that you highlighted will become blue, and it will become underlined, and it will become clickable. Now, one of the other cool features of Google Drive is that as I type this stuff, because it saves in real time like that, if I have shared this file with someone, as we discussed in the sharing video, then everything I do is updated real time. So this right here that I just opened up, when I'm going back and forth between these two web pages, I am logged into the account mrkangas15@gmail.com on my Firefox, and in my Google Chrome browser I'm logged into my jman1115 account. So I'm logged into 2 different Gmail accounts, and I have shared this test1 file with my other account, mrkangas15, so that I can show you how this works. It's really cool because not only can I see all of the edits real time that have been made, but it also tells me who made them, which is pretty neat, I think. So like I can go onto here and I can do some more typing. I'm going to change our fonts back to normal. Do some more typing. And I go and open up my Mozilla, and there we go. Everything I just wrote has updated instantly over here, which is really cool. Because it allows 2 people to collaborate on the same thing at the same time. And what I like about that especially is because with Google you can create spreadsheets and you can create PowerPoints as well. And so like for example, if you have a group and you're supposed to be making a PowerPoint, literally if you have like 3 people, for example, all 3 of you could be working in the same PowerPoint but on different slides at the same time. And then you can be taking a look at each other's slides, or you can share a story you're writing with a friend. Maybe you've written 2 or 3 pages of an essay or 2 or 3 pages of a story and you're not done yet, but you'd like someone to look over it while you're still working on it and edit it for you and maybe leave some comments. So they can look at what you've already written and leave comments on it while you continue to work on your story or essay or whatever it may be. And so you can get some of the editing done while you're working on the paper. So you don't have to finish the paper, then get it edited, and then have to go back and redo it again. It can kind of be like an ongoing process. It's just kind of neat. Yeah, so that's really cool. And linking stuff is really easy, and I love that a lot. And I talked about before. I talked about comments just now, and that's actually the next button, the Insert Comment button. So what that is for, this is a great thing to do, because when you share, we talked about how you have 3 options. There's the View option, there's the View with Comments option, and then there's the Edit option. Now, if you do View with Comments, someone can read your work and leave comments, which is great. So they highlight whatever it is they want to comment about. They hit the comment button, and then they type their comment. And they click comment. And what that does is now that piece of text that they commented on is highlighted. And if I click on that highlight, that comment will pop right up, and I can see who wrote it, I can see what they wrote, when they wrote it, and I can choose to delete, the comment if necessary. Or if I feel like I've addressed the comment, maybe the comment was telling me the correct spelling of a word, I can click on the button Resolve, and the comment goes away. And so this is the highlight, because at that point it indicates that the comment has been addressed. And the cool thing about comments too, though, is like you don't have to with the comments, you don't have to delete them in order to print it. So if you need to print this, the highlight and the comment will not appear on the print, which is great. So I love the comment option, and the English teachers in my school do too. It makes peer editing and teacher editing of student papers a dream. That coupled with the sharing utility is just awesome. And I'm sure as time goes on, college kids and stuff, and high school kids, everyone, they're really going to take full advantage of this, and it's going to be great. And hopefully workplaces do as well. There's a lot of potential there. So that's awesome. Those are some really cool features of Google Docs that aren't as easy to use as Word, like aren't as easy to use in Word. Sharing files and stuff in Word is very, very difficult and cumbersome compared to this. There's a lot of emailing back and forth and stuff like that. This is just very simple, very easy to share something with someone and then to comment on it and have that real-time discussion with them is just great. And also, too, if you're one of those people who really likes a face-to-face with someone when they're editing your paper, you don't like doing this whole online thing, in your Gmail account, you do have a Skype-like app that you can open up, and you can actually video chat with someone. So you could video chat with someone while you work on this paper if you wanted to, if you really want that face-to-face, and you aren't able to meet with them in person. You can at least look at them and talk to them like that. So the next set of buttons is basically alignment. So if it's aligned to the left, then your text, when you hit the enter button, you see my cursor here, the blinky line, it's over on the left. Basically where that alignment changes. Every time I hit enter, that can change based on these alignment buttons. So if I hit center, then all the text will come out of the center. Okay. If I hit right, okay, it all ends up over there as I hit enter. Okay, every time I go down a line, it's me hitting enter on the keyboard. Okay, and then you also have the justify option. Line spacing, okay, you want, most people use 1.5 to 2.0 for line spacing. Line spacing, instead of saying 2.0 and 1.5, typically we used to call it, when I was a kid, 2.0 was double spacing. This would be 1.5 spacing. So, typically, what it's set up now is 1.15, so I'm going to put the alignment back on the left. You start typing, you hit enter, you start typing, you hit enter, you start typing, you hit enter. So, the line spacing literally dictates how much space is between each line. So how much space is between this line and this and this line right here. And you can see there's not a whole lot of space there. Now if I change the line spacing to double space or 2.0 space, you can see that spacing gets bigger. So these two options right here are numbered and bulleted lists. So for example, numbered list, you hit that, it says 1, and when I hit enter, it'll create 2, 3, 4, 5. Every time I hit enter, it just goes to the next number. So it's great for making lists. Bullets do the same exact thing. The only difference between a bullet and a numbering is that bullets don't use numbers, they just use dots. These are great for resumes. Okay. Indent. Talk about that. So right now we're aligned all the way to the left. Okay, if I want to indent this, so in other words I want to move it in or out. Okay, it's kind of like hitting the tab key. The tab key moves you forward a few spaces. So indent key can be useful. A lot of times you're expected to indent at the beginning of a paragraph. A lot of people just hit the tab button. It does basically the same thing. And then this last button will clear any and all formatting that has occurred. So as you can see, the formatting is typically like text color, text background, things like that. So right here where I have the blue and the red, if I go up there and I want to get rid of that, I can clear formatting and it will all go away. And we'll go back to default. Default is just black text with a white background. And if you want to hide your quick access toolbar, you hit this over here. or not the quick access toolbar. Over here we'll hide the everything that appears up here, all the menus and the title and the comment section, your access to your settings, things like that. You can hide all that and kind of give yourself more screen space to work with by hitting that button. Then your quick access toolbar is tucked nicely right up here. Still available to you. You can search all all the menus over here if you want, so that would be a little bit cumbersome. But if you hit insert, then everything under the insert menu will appear. If you want to see something that's under the file tab, type file, and a lot of the stuff that appears in the file tab will appear. Or if you know specifically what you're doing, maybe you want to bold something, you hit bold and there's bold. So you can search for the function that you're looking for. So that is the quick access toolbar. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. And the next video is going to be on the file tab. Alright, so I will see you then.